talking about success and a definition that we have of success from Coach John Wooden, legendary UCLA men's basketball coach, was success is a peace of mind which is the direct result of self-satisfaction and knowing you made the effort to be the best of which you are capable of becoming. The question I left you off with was, what prevents us from achieving our goals and being successful? The answer here is fear. Now, many folks may say, not me, that does not apply. Um, I am not able to achieve success because of um, financial situations or because of my location or whatever it may be, right? A lot of us have different reasons that we believe we're not successful, but the core reason is fear, and this has been found out by other industry experts and researchers. And usually, all these things that we list out, those are just excuses and ways that we justify this, right? If you really think about it, I come from Africa. I many ways found a pathway to achieving great and massive success. But this was after I stripped down all these barriers of fear that were preventing me from diving into what I knew I could do. So let's take a look at what the core fears are, right? The main core fear to look at is the thoughts of I am not enough. I like I said, I'm from Africa. I started working my first professional job in corporate America in a consulting firm, and in my mind, even though I knew I was smart enough, my first thoughts were, I'm not enough. I'm not enough. I'm from West Africa. I don't know as much as these Americans do, and all these different thoughts going through my mind. But I realized those were just thoughts, right? And the moment I started to strip those thoughts down and start taking action, you won't believe the amount of success I achieved in my corporate career, getting promoted early, and making six figures. I mean, you think about it, that's a completely different thought from I am not enough. Next one is I won't be loved. And this is a deeper, more personal issue. And this has to do with our desire to be loved, right? Now, a lot of us want to be respected and want to be, seen as the experts in our industry. And that's where the I am not enough comes in. But where the I won't be loved comes in is the desire to fit in, to be a part of community, part of society. And that's where that core fear comes from. The next thing we'll look at here is the definition of fear, right? Fear, by this definition we have on here, is an emotion induced. So when we talk about an emotion, this is internal. It's something you feel, right? And it's induced by a perceived threat. That means this emotion is created by a threat, right? So if you see or feel something that you think is going to threaten you, this emotion of fear arises. So understand this. It's not saying fear is a real thing or it's a physical thing. It's saying fear is an emotion which causes entities, you and I, to quickly pull away from it and usually hide. It is a basic survival mechanism occurring in response to a specific stimulus, such as pain or the threat of danger. Now, I really want you to think about this. What we call this in the industry is fight or flight. And I'm pretty sure you've heard this before. When you feel there is something to be scared of, when you feel there is danger or a perceived threat, right? The way that the human mind works is you're ready to either fight, protect yourself, or flee, run. And that is what fear does. Fear prepares us for that. It's saying, hey, Peter, wake up. There is something going on here. Time to get ready to either run or fight, right? And there are three ways that we respond to fear, right? Fear can be, if you were to imagine fear, here are the three things I would have you think about. First, fear can be a trap, okay? Fear can disarm you and it can discourage you, right? And it can cause depression, right? Because if you're always running, you live in fear, right? You're discouraged. You can't take any action because you feel if I take this action, here's what awaits on the other side. If I turn in my resume, I'll get turned down. If I, and that's the discouraged part. So now you're discouraged. You don't want to turn in your resume. And what does that discouragement do? It disarms you. It causes you not to take action. So now your hands are bound behind you. You're trapped. And guess what? You become depressed because you feel like nothing works out for me. Everyone's getting great jobs. And I'm the only one who can't. All these different things. And then you start to go into this little hole of feeling bad for yourself and feeling things are not working out for your good when they actually are, right? The next way fear can be used is as a map, okay? When you feel fear, and think about this as a little kid, as you're growing up, when you touch fire or you cut your finger on a sharp edge or something happens, right? Next time you are scared to do that again because you remember what happened, right? What's a map? A map is pretty much just someone saying, hey, I walked this route one day and I just mapped out the exact pathway. So when I come back here, I know what to do. I know where I went, how I went. And it's, like I said, just a map. It's a reminder of past lessons, right? So fear just tells you, hey, this happened a while ago and here's what you learned, right? It also allows you to navigate the present. It allows you to figure out what to do when things happen. Should I go left? Should I go right? Okay. The next thing is it's a tap. When we say it's a tap, imagine what happens when you close a tap. You're right. It stops pouring. The whatever is in that behind that tap stops coming out. But when you open it, right, it's providing you more stuff. So now with this fear, you've gained the skills to overcome. You remember that when you cut your wrist or you cut your finger, what you did was you put some tape around it and you were good, right? And you put some pressure on it. You maybe you hurt your ankle. You elevated your foot. Whatever you did to overcome that, you now had the skills going forward to overcome, and also it provides you calm amidst the storm, right? When people are frantic or scrambling and things are not going right at work and things are not going right in their lives and all these things are happening and they think they can't get a job and you say, well, I had those same thoughts one day and I did this, right? You share your skills, right? But you also have the map where you know where they're going and you know where they are because you've been there, so you can relate and you know how the trap works. So you step away from the disarming, the discouragement, the depression, and you remind them of your past lessons, help them navigate the present, provide them the skills to overcome what's to come, or what else they may face in the future. But then also, like I said, you are the calm amidst the storm, right? So every time you feel fear, think these three things. Trap. What is trapping me right now? What and which way can this be a trap to me? What is it preventing me from doing? What is it discouraging me from taking action on? And then second, how is it a map, right? Have you seen this before? Do you know anyone who has seen this before? And how did they use it as a map? How did they use it to navigate their present, right? What past lessons do they have that they can share with you? So then what do? You learn from those. A tap. How can you use that to overcome? How can you learn what skills do you have to draw on or pull on to overcome? How can you be more calm, right? Knowing that you have all these resources at hand. How much peace does this provide you? Okay, so you're gonna go down and answer some of these questions and just think to your past. And what we're trying to do is help you think along these lines, so in the future you can just dive right in here and tap into these resources. Next is a great quote from a book that I read by Viktor Frankl, and here he talks about Forces beyond your control can take away everything you possess except for one thing: your freedom to choose how you will respond to the situation. And this goes back to what we just discussed. Anytime you're confronted by fear, you can either have it disarm you, it can be a trap. It can disarm you, it can discourage you, it can depress you. Or you can use it as a map as well as a tap, a map where you're able to, to navigate the present, using what you learned in the past lessons. You can use it as a tap, right? Skills, learn more skills to overcome, and just having that calm amidst the storm, right? So this is an awesome quote from Viktor Frankl. The next thing to look at now is, it's a great question, and I want you to answer this before you even move on. You don't have to write it down, but just think about this: is fear real, or do we create it? Right? Last I defined fear, I told you it was an emotional feeling, or it's an emotion that is induced by a perceived threat. If it's emotional, it's within you, okay? And now, is fear real, or do we create it? I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to think about this. If you've been burned by fire once, okay, and you see a little match burning on the ground, are you going to be scared? Most likely not. But if you saw a house burning, you might definitely be more scared, right? And that's because in your mind, you're making up decisions as to which one could cause you the most harm: the house or the little matchstick, right? However, they're both fire, and they're both things that are being consumed by fire at that moment. Okay, so I want to share a few things with you here. It says here, fear can only exist in our thoughts of the future. It is the product of our imagination, causing us to fear things which do not present and will possibly not exist in the future. So think about it this way. When you're scared, you're usually not scared about things in the past. Like, you're not really scared about, oh, I'm scared that I ate chicken ravioli last night. No, you're scared that you ate chicken ravioli last night because it can cause you to get sick tomorrow. It's tomorrow's fear that you're most likely afraid of, right? And that's the thing to understand, is fear is a projection into the future. We're projecting what we think is going to happen into the future, right? The next thing to understand is danger is real. Yes, if you have a match on the ground and you have gasoline right around it, and it could most likely catch that can of gasoline on fire and blow up, that is real. That could happen. That could cause you pain. But fear is a choice. Now, if you were a firefighter, you would know exactly what to do if it caught on fire. Oh, maybe I'll do this or do that. You have the training, so you know exactly what to do. But if you're not, you might definitely feel fear, right? So what causes the firefighter from not feeling fear? He chooses not to because he has the know-how. He knows how to attack that situation, right? The next thing is the most important thing, right? Fear, we're projecting into the future, this fear, right? Right? But the thing to understand is, which of you by worrying can add even 1 hour to his life by projecting fear into the future? If you worry about what could happen tomorrow, I may not get this job, and you allow that to prevent you from applying for a great job, or doing the things that you love, or going for the job that you want, or doing what you love and getting paid to do it, well, guess what? You are not even adding an additional hour to your life, right? You can't worry enough to make $100. You can't worry enough to make $1 million. You cannot worry enough to add a single hour to your life. So what are you doing worrying or living in fear?